Guys,
back up away from us. Put your stuff down. Let me see your identification. You don't tell me
de-escalate.
what to do. You do not tell me what to do.
De-escalate.
Get out.
While sitting in Oklahoma, I began seeing reports that the city of Lexington, Mississippi, in the Mississippi Delta, was under investigation from the United States Justice Department for continuous and systematic practices that were violations of the citizens' civil rights in Lexington, Mississippi, and in Holmes County, Mississippi.
Department of Justice launches an investigation in their city. It's over concerns of patterns of violating people's constitutional rights.
Based on an extensive review of information that is publicly available and that we received from stakeholders, we conclude there is significant justification to open this investigation now.
After seeing those reports and then reading the report where they found systemic racism in the Lexington Police Department, I felt a calling to go down to Lexington, Mississippi to see for myself exactly what was going on. Upon arriving in Lexington, Mississippi, I met with the head of the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party. Now, the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party is an offshoot of the Democratic Party that started in the 1960s and was sort of famously headed up by a woman named Fannie Lou Hamer at the Democratic National Convention in the 60s. They were an alternate delegate platform trying to go against the white delegates because blacks were not being allowed to register to vote in the state of Mississippi. That whole party is surrounded with the civil rights history of the state of Mississippi. And so I met with their director and we came up with a plan to interview those people who were impacted by the racial violence and profiling and abuses by the Lexington Police Department.
President of the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party, Cardell Wright, says they spoke with LPD several times to address issues in the community, but nothing was done.
I made a reservation at the library. I reserved a room, met with those folks who were nice. And before I left town that day, I decided to go across the street to the police department to just see if I could get some of these reports and maybe some of the body cameras from, say, some of the incidents where they used a taser as a cattle prod to move along a subject, or where they tasered a man in the teens of times simply because they wanted to, because he was being unkind to them. These kind of things are things that I wanted to find out, and I wanted to get those reports so I could start looking at them as I did these interviews.
is the police department here?
It's right here, sir.
Okay, thank you.
What do you need, sir?
I need to see about setting up an appointment to interview somebody.
Well, hold on just a second now. Go back there. Hold on just a second. Let me get you some help.
Okay.
So who exactly you trying to see?
Well, I want to see if anybody will comment related to the Justice Department investigation on the
No
department.
comment. No comment at this time.
Well, who's giving the no comment?
No comment because
I know, but who's giving the no
person
comment?
in charge, he's not here.
Who is the person in charge?
He's not here. I mean, if you're trying to get a comment, I mean, you should know who you're looking for, right?
Okay, well, who do you say is in charge?
He's not here.
Okay, who is that? What's his name?
You want him there?
You just want to tell me his name? Why do you have an attitude?
I'm gonna let her handle you.
Okay, you have an attitude.
Hey, how you doing?
Why?
Give me 1 second, sir.
Upon entering the small little Lexington Police Department, I immediately encountered a woman who, well, let's just say she didn't like the fact that I was recording. And we already know that all of the circuit courts in the entire United States that have decided the issue clearly say that the public has the right to record the police. Right? So I'm walking into a police station to record my encounter with the police, and they flip out. It's at the Lexington Police Department that I first meet Officer Walters.
Yes, sir. Who are you?
I'm Chief Investigator Scott Walters.
Nice to meet you, sir.
So what's the problem?
Well, I'm trying to ask if there would be anybody that would be willing to give a comment
No,
on the
Chief's
Justice
not
Department.
here. He's the only one that can.
Who's the chief? What's his name?
Charles Henderson.
Charles Henderson. How long has Charles been the chief here?
That's not something I'm willing to discuss with you.
Same place. So you don't do
The
any.
city attorney represents us on legal matters.
No, I understand,
And
but
this
what
is
about-
obviously
what about
not
a police-
story? It's political. So
What about a What about a person wanting police reports? Do they go here or they go to the city too?
If you were the victim of a crime or you were related to the crime, that's one thing. But what you're doing is obvious, you city attorney. And that's all I'm going to say.
Only the city. So a normal person would go there as well?
No, sir. A normal person.
So you're sending me there just because I got this camera?
No, I'm sending you
So you're violating my First Amendment rights?
No, sir. Exit the building.
I'm not. Why you give me an order?
Yes, sir, I am.
Under threat of arrest?
No, sir.
Then I'm not leaving. It's voluntary then. If it's not under threat of arrest, it's voluntary.
Let me explain something to you. You can
explain it to me.
What you're doing is unnecessary.
Okay.
You're here to harass us.
I'm here to ask you questions,
I have
sir.
amendment. No, you're being very obnoxious. And,
Am I?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, sir.
Okay.
Look it up.
How so?
Look the word up.
How so?
Move your hand down from my face.
My hand is far away from you, sir.
Okay.
Getting you on the camera.
Okay. I'm going to give you what I'm trying to say where hopefully you can understand.
Okay, let me try to understand it.
In encountering Officer Walters, he was immediately hostile, immediately extremely aggressive, and I had to tell him repeatedly to de-escalate the situation. That made him even more angry and hostile, to the point where he finally said, "If you don't leave, I'm going to place you under arrest." So I left.
You didn't go to law school?
No, I did. So make sure you explain it real slow for me.
Okay.
I got it.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Where'd you go?
You're being a smart aleck. And
You're absolutely right.
Because
You're trying to tell me I can't engage in constitutionally
no,
protected
I'm trying
activity.
to tell you that you're not going to come in here and disturb this police department with your bull crap. No, the questions you're asking is being
Why are you
asked.
yelling?
I'm not yelling. I'm talking over you because you won't shut up and
de-escalate.
Listen.
De-escalate.
You don't tell me what to do.
De-escalate.
You do not tell me what to do.
De-escalate.
Get out.
Is it under threat of arrest?
If you don't leave, I'm going to arrest you.
Okay, I'll leave now.
My intention upon leaving was to then go to the city of Lexington, where he told me I could get the reports that I wanted. And he gave me directions on where to go. And as I drove past where he told me to go, quite frankly, the building looked abandoned. It did not look like you would have government offices in there. It looked closed. And so as I made the block, I saw a sign above a building that said Holmes County, and then there was a slash, and then it said Justice Court. Well, from reading the reports from the Justice Department, we know that there are outstanding, for a city of Lexington who has 1,200 people or less population, $1.7 million in outstanding fines. And so I go into the building where this Justice Court is located for the specific purposes of asking for a printout of all the outstanding fines that are due to the Justice Court there in Holmes County. Because I wanted to get an idea of, if they say Lexington is $1.7 million from that police department, what's Holmes County, which has got, a greater population, but likely has similar policing practices. Upon arriving into that building, I again encountered a woman who clearly does not understand people's constitutional rights to record in publicly accessible areas of public buildings, because the clerk immediately becomes hostile.
Hello. Is this where all the the minor criminal cases are dealt with? Is that the Justice Court?
Depending on what you're looking for.
So I'm trying to get. So the Justice Department reported that there's $1.7 million in outstanding fines and fees for the Justice Clerk.
Not record us without permission before you
I'm in a publicly accessible area, ma'am. I'm going to record you.
Have a good day. I don't want to be recording. I just asked you not. If I have to call the police, I will.
Ma'am, it's not illegal to record you.
I just asked you not.
I understand, but I'm going to do it. So if you feel the need to call the cops for somebody recording,
I just asked you not to do that.
okay, I'm going to do it anyway. It's my constitutional right, ma'am. If you want to infringe on my constitutional right, you can. Anyway, back to you, ma'am, who I was talking to.
Clerk.
She's the court clerk?
Yes.
I just need a list of the outstanding fines.
Well, she would have to give it to
Can you get that for me, ma'am?
It's always shocking to me when I encounter somebody who doesn't fight or believe in civil rights. I believe in them so fundamentally in their importance that it drives me nuts when anybody has an issue with civil rights. But it really bothers me when an African American, specifically one in a place like Lexington, Mississippi, is going to try to infringe on my civil rights, something that Mississippi's been fighting for, and the people in that area have been fighting for decades. And she's going to call the police because I'm filming.
I have a gentleman here and I need your assistance.
And I knew who she was calling. And I did not figure it was going to go well. And it didn't go well. It didn't go well at all.
40, sir. Why does everybody have a problem with that around here? Do you know why people have an issue with recording around here? Guys?
Back up away from us. You don't have the right to get in our face.
I'm not in your face.
Back up to the sidewalk.
I'm on the sidewalk, sir.
Back up past the sidewalk. Back up to your truck till I get through.
Why?
Because I'm trying to find out if you committed a crime.
By filming?
You were being detained.
By filming?
I don't know what you did. That's your word. You're a lawyer. I don't trust you. Stand over there.
It's all on film.
Immediately upon arriving, Officer Walters from the Lexington Police Department tells me on his way into the building that I'm being detained and I am not free to leave. That's the first words out of his mouth as he's walking past me and he's going inside. Well, I had the fortunate pleasure of knowing what the woman said on the phone. And all the woman said on the phone was what you saw in the video, that she wanted somebody to come down there. She didn't say that there was anybody committing a crime or anything like that. I say that to say that when he told me to stay there, he did not have reasonable, articulable suspicion that I had committed, was about to commit, or had committed a crime. He didn't have any of that stuff. So immediately upon him detaining me, and that's what it was a detention, he violated my civil rights. So at that point, I'm like, okay, cool. My civil rights have been violated. This is gonna, you know, we're gonna go forward with this. We're gonna sue them for civil rights violations. And quite frankly, that's where I wanted it to end. I didn't want anything else. I was in Mississippi by myself. I had Duke, my Australian blue heeler, in the truck, chilling in the air conditioning. And I didn't want any of this to go negative. And I certainly didn't want to go in handcuffs with that Officer Walters, who was clearly an aggressive dude.
I record everything, sir.
He goes inside, and then a sheriff's deputy comes up, and he starts talking to me, and he's essentially warning me about Officer Walters.
County man, okay?
So he's letting you take over?
No, well, he worked with the city.
Well, he told me I was detained, though.
Well,
So you want to...
Well, if you're detained, like I said, I'm helping you out. You didn't know.
I got the warning. I understood what he was saying, but quite frankly, I didn't catch that the warning was going to be that, hey, this guy has no issues whatsoever of violating your civil rights and kind of roughing you up. And that's what he was warning me about. Because after the fact, he tells me, I told you so. And I'm like, you could have said that he was that kind of guy. I mean, I got that you were warning me about him, but you could have just said, hey, he doesn't follow procedures, or hey, bad dude, be on the lookout. I mean, you could have done something to give me some indication that, you know, he was going to go off the complete rails, which is what ends up happening.
Am I still detained, or am I free to go?
He's all what you call.
Am I free to go, or am I detained? You violated my constitutional rights twice today already.
Hey,
Am I free to go?
Approach me, you're going to jail.
Sir, I am staying far away from you. I am staying far away from you. Calm down. De-escalate. Dear Lord, sir, you do not need to be a cop.
So after Walters comes out, I realized that he understood that he didn't have probable cause to arrest me, and he was going to let me go. And that's why I started asking him, hey, am I still detained? Am I free to go? Am I still detained? Am I free to go? And I am standing 20 feet away from him, holding a monopod with an FX3 camera on the top of it, wearing shorts and a t-shirt. Shorts that have no pockets whatsoever. They're like tennis shorts. Again, wasn't expecting an encounter with law enforcement, and wasn't even filming at the time I went in, other than with the little DJI. So I wasn't expecting any of this to happen. So he tells me I better back up. And I tell him to calm down again. And that's when he orders me to the sidewalk and orders me to produce my identification.
Come on, talk to
Don't
me
touch
because,
me. Don't touch me.
Listen,
Don't
now
touch
you're going
me.
to get you arrested.
For what?
But that's what I'm just telling you. Now you're going to be...
No, I'm not threatening you. I'm going to file a complaint
I don't
against
care.
you.
Stand over here. I'm giving you a lawful order to stand over here. Put your stuff down. Let me see your identification.
I don't have any
Put
identification on me.
everything down.
I don't have ID
before I
on
take
me.
it from you. Well,
I
you need
don't-
to get it. And you need to get it now.
I give you my information.
I know. Get your ID card. I saw you driving. I'm asking for your ID.
I've now been detained, I guess, again. I don't know what for, other than filming from right beside my truck where I was legally parked, and I was not impeding traffic, and I certainly wasn't close to the man, as the video establishes. But he freaked out. He freaked completely out and sends me to the sidewalk and then starts demanding my ID. And I didn't have my ID on me. Again, I didn't have any pockets. My ID was in my backpack, which was on the tailgate of my truck. After that, Officer Walters is demanding my identification. I tell him I don't have it on me. He says, well, I saw you drive earlier, and therefore you've got to give it to me. Well, that's not correct. Just to be clear, that is not correct. The fact that he saw me drive earlier does not mean that he can have my identification now and that I had to produce my ID. That's not in any way the way any of this works. But the man was irate and the man was demanding, and if I didn't give him the ID, I was going to jail. So I tell him it's in my backpack on the back tailgate. And he asks me, are there any guns in the vehicle? And I respond as I normally would to any officer's question, sir, I don't answer questions. And he becomes extremely irate. And I go to get my identification, which is in my backpack, and I tell him it's in the backpack, and I have my hand on the backpack, and he says, don't touch the backpack. I'm like, you want my identification? Yes. Well, it's right here. Don't touch the backpack. Well, no danger to him whatsoever. I'm well away from the cab of the truck. The backpack is closed up. I'm not trying to open it. And he just flips his lid and goes hands on. And I don't resist. I go in handcuffs. And the interesting thing about the encounter was he said, fuck the Justice Department during our encounter at least 3 different times. I got up in his feelings and hurt his feelings, and he wanted to lash out against me. So after handcuffing me, he takes me over to his car and slams me hard up against the car and just like pushes his entire body weight into me and just is like aggressively just, I don't know, groping everywhere he can get. But he's got me pushed up against the car so hard he can't like get around. You know, it was the weirdest experience. And I keep telling him like, yo, I don't have anything on me. I don't have any pockets. I have nothing on me at all. And I don't believe a lawyer. I don't believe you. And then he tells me later in the interaction, he says to me, your constitutional rights don't trump my right to go home at night. I don't exactly know what that means, but I'm pretty sure constitutional rights go up here. And his right to abuse a person to his liking, well, I don't think it's on the map. But according to Officer Walters, it certainly is, and it's a high priority for him. So after putting me in handcuffs, I realized that I'm in a bad situation. Fortunately, I'd gone live right before they got there, and it was sitting on the back tailgate of my truck. It didn't capture anything but the clear blue sky, but it captured a lot of the audio, which you're probably hearing in this video. And I set up the DJI on when he told me to put my stuff down, and I set it up in a way to try to capture as much as I could. And Officer Walters has me in handcuffs, and they try to put me in the back of one car. And he's got another officer that's with them, this tall African-American guy who doesn't say a whole lot. And maybe my read was wrong, but he's just trying to do everything he can not to piss off Officer Walters. In fact, he says a couple of things to me where it's like, hey man, just go along with it. Like, just, you know, just let's see if it'll calm down. Almost like he kind of knew. So while I'm handcuffed, they decide he tells me he's going to do an inventory search of my truck. And I'm like, well, I got a dog in the truck. And if you're going to arrest me, we're going to have to deal with the dog. And so at this point, they let me out of the handcuffs. But he won't let the one officer, the black gentleman, he won't take them all the way off. So they're dangling while I get Duke out. Because they're afraid of him. They don't want him to bite him. So I take Duke to the sidewalk, and my thought was, I want to be the least threatening to them as humanly possible. So the only thing I can think to do is I just sat down on the sidewalk. I just sat down on the sidewalk and got Duke to lay down beside me and petted him to keep him happy, because I wanted them to see me as no threat. And I'm doing everything I can to try to get out of this arrest because, frankly, I don't want to go to the Holmes County detention facility after what that officer said and the way these guys have behaved themselves, specifically with all my folks back in Oklahoma. And it became very clear to me that Officer Walters was very concerned about my plans for what was going to happen in Lexington.
And I'm done with Lexington.
How do you say Durbin?
And so I made it clear to him that if they let me go, that I'd leave. I'd get my stuff right then. I'd head back, and I'd head on back to Oklahoma. And they talked. The city attorney literally drives by the scene, and Officer Walters has a long conversation with him, and then another guy rolls up, and Officer Walters is talking to him, and on the cell phone then becomes the Lexington police chief. After he asked me to come to this vehicle to talk to the police chief, I can see on the phone a picture of the police chief, like you can program him in your phone, and it's a larger, bald, black guy who's the police chief of this white Officer Walters, who's clearly got some anger issues. And he explains to me, the chief does, that they're going to let me go on an own recognizance bond, because normally they demand a cash bond. And if you read the Justice Department reports, that's what they do. They use the cash bond system to make money for their department, and that's sort of their practices. But they decide they're going to let me go on an OR, because I tell them I don't have any money, I don't have any access to any money. I told them I was poor and that I didn't have anything. Again, I'd read the Justice Department reports, so I knew I was testing that whole issue of this cash bond system. And so I told him I was broke. And he's like, "You're a lawyer." And I'm like, I explained to him I was broke. And, which is not untrue. And so they finally decided to take me to the police department. And how they're going to take me to the police department is they're going to let me go, and I'm going to follow him back to the police department that I had left a little while ago to sit down and sign a subpoena for me to return for my court date for obstruction or something like that. And we've got the paper.
So apparently I'm going to the Lexington City Police Department to be processed in and then released on my own recognizance with a court date is what they're doing. So I guess they want me back.
And they tell me that, hey, if you leave, and I don't have any of the cameras at this point, but hey, if you leave, just call us after you're gone, and we'll make this court date disappear. And Officer Walters decides that he wants to befriend me and starts talking about, he tries to start explaining himself and his behavior and that he's not such a bad guy. And I explained to them, I was like, look, folks, I'm not just a foreigner from the state of Oklahoma. I explained to them where I was from. I explained to them that I grew up in Laurel, Mississippi, and Jones County, Mississippi. I explained to them a little bit of my history in the state of Mississippi and the connections that I still have in the state. And man, the man started shaking my hand. He shook my hand at least 5 times before I left there. And I was shaking his hand as many times as he wanted to shake my hand, because I wanted to get my butt out of that police station. And interestingly, while we're sitting there, I could hear the phones ringing. And I'd been on that live, and I'd said something about I was good on the live where I was going when I got back in the truck. And apparently, all the viewers, and I love you, you all started calling. And I just absolutely adore that. And the phones start ringing, and they come to me and they say, "Hey, did you call somebody on your way here?" And I was like, "No, I didn't call anybody," which is true. I didn't call anybody. I was on the live. And so they're like, I was like, "Why?" And they're like, "Well, people are calling for you." And I'm like, "Oh," I was like, I did do a live, and they didn't understand any about Guerrilla Publishing or any of this stuff. And I was like, "So do you want me to tell them to stop?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So I go out to the truck and I say, "Hey," get on the camera, "don't call. Hey, don't call the Lexington Police Department. Don't call the Lexington Police Department. Y'all stop. Thanks anyway. I'm going to end the live. Y'all stop." And Lee, fortunately by this point, is in the chats telling everybody he doesn't mean that. Because again, as I've explained, call, harass your government to change. Petition them to change. That is what we do as a society when we want our government to change. And so I just wanted to get out of there. And so I did what I said I was going to do. There was an officer kind of right behind me watching me do it. So I said, "Hey, stop calling." And then I went back inside because I didn't want to get arrested for y'all calling them, because quite frankly, I didn't know if it could turn back the other way or not. And come to find out, they did not have a very good attitude with the callers on the phone. So maybe that was a good thing that I got out of there very quick. But after getting out of there, I did do exactly what I said I was going to do. I went back to my hotel, I got my gear, and I got the heck out of Mississippi. And I got out of Mississippi because I made a mistake going to Mississippi alone. First of all, I studied civil rights history at the University of Southern Mississippi in undergraduate. That's what I studied as a major. And so I am keenly aware of the issues that have happened in that area of Mississippi. I mean, for goodness sake, just, an hour down the road from where I was standing in Lexington, Mississippi, is Neshoba County, Mississippi, where the civil rights workers Cheney, Schwerner, and Goodman were murdered and buried under a levee. So it's not like this area doesn't have a history of killing people and doing so for fighting for civil rights. I underestimated how they would behave. And quite frankly, I underestimated the fact that civil rights still don't seem to have come to Lexington and Holmes County, Mississippi. Civil rights are absent in those places. And the most fundamental right that we as a public have is the right to our ability to speak and to tell the public what we see through the freedom of press. And if you don't have that most basic and fundamental rights to speak your mind and to engage in free press, then you don't have civil rights, because all of the rest of them stem from your ability to tell people what's going on. And if they shut you down from that, then what does it matter? They can take away every one of your rights and you can't tell anybody. And that's exactly what seems to be going on in Lexington, Mississippi. So the plan is we're releasing this video today, and then we are going to be going back to Lexington, Mississippi in the very, very near future. And when I say we, it won't just be me this time. I won't make that mistake ever again. Hey everybody, if you enjoyed this video or any of our videos, most of you have not hit that like and subscribe button. Take a second, hit that like and subscribe button, and let us know that you're enjoying this content. Comment down below. It really helps us out. We need all the support we can get as we fight for civil rights across the United States.